Welcome to the next lecture on Confucianism and Taoism. Having noted Buddhism's influence, however, the indigenous religions of Japan and China must also be introduced. Taoism, as with any practice, non-religious to include the martial arts, is easier to do than to adequately, much less fully, describe. The very first line of the Tao Te Ching even states such ambiguity in precisely defining the way, Tao, when it states, "The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao." From such imprecise, almost esoteric language, however, a unifying set of themes can nonetheless be described. Taoism is first rooted in harmony, not conflict. Even the ancient Chinese and Korean symbol of the yin-yang represents such complete harmony between the extremes that characterize nature. Female and male, dark and light, moist and dry. According to Taoism, it is only when such natural qualities are in right proportion, and thus in harmony, that true order within the cosmos is achieved. The male is never to dominate the female is never to subvert the male. As the yin and yang represent all is equal in such cosmic qualities. But, and here Taoism can be seen as a reaction against the very patriarchal, male-dominant Chinese Confucian society, within the pages of the Tao Te Ching, it is Wu Wei, or non-action, as such non-action is rooted in yin, that order was restored to ancient Chinese society. If rocks are in the way, for example, then a gently flowing stream full of yin potential energy will bit by bit wear down the rock will wear down the rock through Wu Wei, almost like in Tai Chi. There's a type of power through yielding, or jujitsu, or mixed martial arts. But in focusing more on yin, Wu Wei, Taoism can be seen as complementary to and a corrective of Confucianism. Finally, since all religions began first as indigenous religions, such philosophical Taoism, as elucidated by Lao Tzu and later Chuanzi, is also marked by earlier religious practices to include shamanism, alchemy, for example, seeking to use magic to create new, usually precious metals, and veneration of household gods, spirits, and nature, and the immortals who through their noble lives were elevated to the status of gods. From 1551 to 479 BC, the historical Confucius lived and taught, and in particular focused upon social propriety through the importance of 5 key societal relationships. Father and son must stand as the foundation of social relationship, with the father educating the young son, and the child being respectful, obedient, and caring for the father in old age. Next, the relationship between older brother and younger brother is essential, with the older brother similarly exhibiting a parental role and helping to raise the younger sibling. Next, husband and wife must care for each other, with the husband as hierarchical head and with the wife as homemaker and mother. Next, the relationship between the elders and the youth must be safeguarded and promoted, with the elders taking responsibility for the proper care, support, and character formation of the young. Finally, the place of the ruler as patriarchal head of the family is stressed, and with the subject giving the same sort of respect accorded one's father, but it is still the key relationship of biological father and son that is key for maintaining Confucian social order. What does it mean to pay proper respect to someone? Your parents, your older brother, the emperor. Often, li is translated as propriety, which means doing what is appropriate or doing what is proper to the situation. And within the broad category of social propriety, li are several other corresponding social virtues. Shu is the silver virtue of Confucian piety, in which the golden rule of Christ, do unto others, one's action is determined through reasoned reciprocity. Unlike Christ do unto others, golden rule, the earlier Confucian version simply states, do not do unto others what you would not wish done unto yourself. Thus, for the Confucian, like the Christian, one must treat others with the very same respect, dignity, as one would wish to be treated, but in the Confucian ethic of reciprocity, only the negative admonition is stated. Zhao is the familial virtue in which all forms of family piety would be classified. One must respect one's parents, one must honor one's ancestors, and one must care for one's siblings. Past, present, and future are all safeguarded by Zhao, for if one remembers one's ancestors, then wisdom is passed from generation to generation, and if one cares for one's parents, then the model is instilled so that one's children will similarly care for us when we are elderly. Wen is the cultural virtue in which the arts are celebrated. The Confucian lives for family, is loyal to the imperial realm, and as such enjoys the benefits of living in civilized society. Literature, poetry, painting, calligraphy, and music are all safeguarded and promoted by respect for Wen. In the modern world, however, is Confucianism still a living religion? Well, to answer this question, as in all religious studies, depends upon how one defines what a religion is. Granted, Confucius primarily taught a social ethic, but nonetheless, such propriety was a lifespan encompassing total worldview. Historically, the collapse of Confucianism began first among the educated elite who had studied in the West. Influenced by such notables as William James, John Dewey, and Bertrand Russell, the New Culture movement, beginning in 1916, embraced progressive views regarding treatment of women, children's enslavement to their families of origin. Finally, with the collapse of China into state tyranny, that is Marx's takeover in 1949, communism attacked Confucianism along the same path, criticizing Confucianism for its elitism, its misogyny, and its clinging to ancient ideals. Therefore, although Confucianism may live on in vestiges of past Chinese influence, South Korea and Taiwan, due to state-enforced persecution of religious piety, Confucian ideals, at least on China's mainland, are largely extinct. From 350 BC, when Taoism first officially began, with the publication of the Tao Te Ching, through the later publication of the Taoist Canon in 1445, and through communist repression of religion, 1949 through the present, Taoism has stood as a corollary to, and at times corrective of, the rigid social propriety of Confucian belief and practice. Although Confucianism based its claims in a general theology of the mandate of heaven, for the most part Confucianism was more of a social theory or philosophy, as it can be considered a proper religion. Taoism, similarly, is a diffuse category, for it describes a way of nature, more so than a theological category. Rooted in the Tao, the way, Taoism seeks harmony with the Tao, and especially the harmony produced by more feminine aspects of nature. Whereas Confucianism is male-dominated Yan, Taoism is focused on how harmony is achieved through the more subtle, surrendering quality of Yin, which in the Tao Te Ching specifically roots such a retreating quality of Wu Wei, non-action. Therefore, in conclusion, although forms of Buddhism dominate Chinese and Japan's religious history, one cannot overlook the vital importance of both Taoism and Confucianism in helping to explain China's and Japan's unique religious history.